I think it is time for us to borrow a term that's been used in the past for moments like this. I think it is time for us to have a disputation. And I think this time you and I will probably join together in the vetting of Pope Fauci, the wise and imminent. Are you okay? Are you willing to join me in this disputation?
I'm game.
Will you join me at the Wittenberg door as we nail a few theses? Again, we're just asking questions. Will you join me in this quest, Mr. Erzin?
Let's cast this Pachimama into the River Tiber.
All right. With that said, then, can we begin with this question? Can someone explain to me why we are currently debating why our home state of Iowa and states like North Dakota and Wyoming have not yet declared themselves de facto police states? But yet, right now, in Dr. Fauci's hometown of New York City, which is the hot zone for SARS-2 coronavirus in the United States, you can still ride the subway. Anybody? Bueller? Hello, McFly? Is this on? Anybody? Can anybody answer that for me? Can anybody answer that for me why we are breathlessly demanding right now? States like the one I live in, where as of yesterday, 60 people were in the hospital from SARS-2 coronavirus. 60 total. Why I have to live in a police state, or North Dakota does, or Wyoming does, but I can still ride the subway in New York City. Does that make any sense to you? Mr. Erzin, I ask.
This is the kind of thing that makes Governor Cuomo a clear candidate for President of the United States. That level of seamless logic is the thing you want in a leader, Steve.
It doesn't make any sense. I want to take your panic seriously. I'm trying. It's just you I don't take seriously. It's just, you want to panic. How about right now the unemployment rate in America is higher than it was during the second year of the Great Depression? Is that okay to panic about? Or do hashtag unemployed lives matter or not? By the way, the University of Zurich went back and looked at the Great Recession a decade ago, and you know what it found? Across the board, all over the world, regardless of region, suicide rates went up 20 to 30% during the Great Recession of a decade ago. Do their lives matter? That's another question I'd like to ask. Do their lives matter?
I think Pope Francis called these, or Fauci, Freudian slip there. You see what I did? Yikes.
That's why I didn't stop you. I was like,
that's a deeper rabbit hole right there.
Yes.
Yes, Catholics are kind of hanging on by a very thin thread as it is. No, but didn't he describe it as, quote, an inconvenience? That's just all this is, Steve.
Yeah. Apparently not so inconvenient in New York City that I can't hop on the subway. Because, that's clean. I mean, when you think of disinfected places in America, the New York City subway, where does that rank on your list, ladies and gentlemen? Where does that rank? Fairly low. Oh, it's not on your list? Because you have common sense. But then again, how dare we question Pope Fauci, the wise and imminent? Indeed. So, I wouldn't presume to question Pope Fauci. But I'm just curious. Can people that went to places like Carnegie-Mellon, Stanford, Oxford, Yale, and Duke, are they qualified to dare graze upon the hem of the garment of Pope Fauci, the imminent and wise? Could those from the same College of Cardinals, shall we say, might they be qualified to question our fearless leader? For example, Dr. David Katz of Yale, writing in the noted right-wing science-denying publication known as the New York Times, openly questioned whether the cure of Pope Fauci's mass shutdowns is worse than the disease. Heretic. How about Dr. John Ioannidis of Stanford, writing a peer-reviewed study on, quote, the harms of exaggerated information and non-evidence-based measures, unquote, to fight SARS-2 coronavirus. He's looking at you, Pope Fauci. Again, burned at the stake. How about Sunetra Gupta, the professor of theoretical epidemiology at Venerable Oxford? Not just, she's so smart, she can't, the real epidemiology is like beneath her, okay? She's studying the theoretical epidemiology. That's how smart she is. The epidemiologists we don't even know about yet. She's ahead of us and already studying them, guys. Okay? She directly contradicted the now revised, shall I call that gaslighted, Imperial College simulation that spooked Pope Fauci and our government. Oh, by the way, Pope Fauci is now giving you numbers. If you want to know, indeed, just how preeminent and wise he is, praise be upon him. Pope Fauci's numbers for America are actually now worse than what Imperial College survey is currently forecasting. Worse. In fact, he told us on Monday that America could see up to 6 times the amount of deaths that the entire world has seen up until this point, despite our wealth, our prosperity, and our medical ingenuity. We're basically Congo. Okay. How about Wesley Pegden? Is he permitted to question Pope Fauci, the preeminent and wise? He is the associate professor at mathematics of Carnegie-Mellon. That's one of the leading research institutions in this country. It's a top 25 university in the country, private or public, according to the latest survey from U.S. News and World Report. And he mentioned recently that the simulations and mass shutdowns, Pope Fauci, the preeminent and wise, is commanding us to be, quote, inconvenienced with. That they have a poison pill. Am I permitted to quote Cardinal Pegden? Is that? Am I within liturgical, ecclesiastical order? Am I permitted to quote a fellow cardinal here from the same school of thought?
Have we consulted any of the conservative blue checks yet who said that Pope Fauci should be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom 3 weeks ago? I think we better make sure that they're okay with all of this.
Well, just in case. You know what? I'm kind of a don't ask for permission, but beg for forgiveness later guy.
Fair enough.
Let me quote Professor Megden from Carnegie-Mellon. Again, a school most of us can't spell, let alone get into. Okay, quote, the duration of containment does not matter. As long as a large majority of the population remains uninfected, lifting containment measures will lead to an epidemic almost as large as would happen without having mitigations in
That's
place.
Interesting. I'm glad I gave you an indulgence to go move forward with that one.
Thank you. By the way, please pass on, if you get branded by Pope Fauci, the preeminent and wise, if you are no longer in his good favor, feel free. I will take that blame. Go ahead and pass on. Make me your substitutionary atonement, if you will.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me translate what Professor Pegden is telling you. That behavior modification we're currently attempting is no magic bullet. That's what he's telling you. At some point, we have to assume the risk of mortality as previous generations did. At some point, we have to recognize that there are things in this world beyond us. Previous generations recognized this. They fought a far more vicious virus known as polio. They saw hundreds of thousands of their countrymen, many of them children, struck down, paralyzed as a result of polio for decades. And yet they still managed to industrialize this country, to win not one, but 2 world wars. And keep in mind, well, Steve, they had a vaccine. Jonas Salk did not inject his own children with his polio vaccine until almost 20 years of failed trials. 20 years of failed trials. So again, I ask, is it okay to question Pope Fauci, the preeminent and wise? You want me to trust the experts? Which experts? Madam, sirs, which experts would you like me to trust? I wouldn't presume to know more about this than Dr. Fauci does. But what about the experts I just cited? How about the one that was in Aaron's montage? What does he know? Dr. Stephen Smith. He's probably from like the Breitbart school of flat earthers, right? Right? That's probably where he's from, right? Actually, I looked him up. Yeah, Aaron mentioned he's a Duke and Yale grad. He's got his postdoctoral training at the University of Virginia and the National Institutes of Allergies and Infected Diseases. But I know because he was on Laura Ingram's show last night, offering any amount of hope with like real data that he's instantly disqualified, at least in the eyes of this White House task force, helmed by Pope Fauci, the preeminent and wise. Apparently now, I have poor news. I've got bad news for you, Dr. Stephen Smith. You didn't see any of those helped patients that you thought you saw and you lack all credentials and credibility. You can't possibly be trusted. Sucks to be you. Because again, remember when he was asked about this drug, help me to remember because I went to community college, Aaron. How is it pronounced again?
How is what pronounced?
The drug. Dr. Smith's drug.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Thank you. That's too many syllables for me. Okay. When Dr. Fauci was asked about this drug last week and whether it had any hope that he had seen so far, he said, and I quote, the answer is no. That's quote. That's what he said. The answer is no. I guess Dr. Stephen Smith can now be added to the ranks of the heretical. How about the World Health Organization? You guys want me to trust them, right? Except in a tweet that they amazingly still have up.
Yeah.
Which shows once and for all, self-awareness is gone. It's dead, not just in America, but on this third rock from the sun, it is gone. You can still go and get the World Health Organization's tweet from January saying, like Frank Drebin in Naked Gun, nothing to see here, folks, move along. China says you don't have anything to worry about. How about the CDC? Trust the experts, Steve. How about the CDC? Because they still can't tell me whether I need to wear a mask in public or not. Well, they first told us they wouldn't help. Now they're not sure. Now there's rumors that any day now they're going to tell us that that's their new guideline. But trust the experts, Steve. Trust the experts. Which ones? Which ones would you like me to trust? Why aren't these counter experts' opinions counted as valid? Why are we not seeing these differing opinions vet each other? How come they're never asked at White House press briefings with Pope Fauci, who's obviously the biggest influence on American policy at the moment? How come I don't know. Maybe he has, and they're discredited. But wouldn't you like to know?
I know why.
Do you think you know why?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, please tell me.
Because the coronavirus inquisition is as lit as the Gadsden Mall. And he's got a ready and willing Torquemada, and that's the media. It's not complicated.
Well, I've been known to defy bullies since my childhood, so I'm going to defy this inquisition as well. All right? Because I think you and I deserve to know these answers. And we deserve to get answers to these questions. You know why? Because Dr. Fauci's still getting paid, like most bureaucrats. Well, a lot of you sitting at home, well, at least 10 million of you right now, aren't. When this is all over, the bureaucrats will not be charged with picking up the pieces of our way of life and fixing our economy. You and I will be. So you're dang skippy that we have a right to get answers to these questions. Experts have expertise that you and I don't have. I accept that. Okay? But that doesn't necessarily make them wiser or any less sinful. Experts are also wrong all the time because they're human too. The experts told Admiral Chester Nimitz, hey, don't listen to that one eccentric Japanese codebreaker there down the hall from your office who's telling you to risk almost the remaining remnant of our naval fleet on a gambit to ambush the Japs in Midway. Won't ever work. Nimitz didn't listen to them, did it anyway. Turned the tide of the Pacific Theater in World War II. The experts told Galileo and Copernicus that they were wrong. I believe Mr. Galileo was introduced to the Inquisition, if I recall. The experts told the apostles there's no such thing as a resurrection. The experts said, boy, could 56 dudes sitting in a constitutional hall defy the most powerful sovereign in the world, King George III? Plenty of experts right now think there's 57 genders. And plenty of experts right now think that amino acids just got together one day, just lonely. One day, 600 million years ago, and for no reason or purpose whatsoever, just blindly produced a single-celled protein that gave life to this thing called the universe. Plenty of experts think open borders are rad, dope, which is how China was able to invade our country with its JV version of Captain Trips. Do not easily hand your sovereignty over to the experts, especially without any skeptical vetting The experts are even trying to vet each other. But apparently, Pope Fauci, the preeminent and wise, he's infallible. He cannot be vetted. For sure, there have been experts that have done amazing things. I even cited one of them, Jonas Salk. But at a critical time such as this, I think it requires even more questions, not fewer. Folks, there's never been a single human being in the history of our species that was ever made worse because of less accountability. But our history books are full of some very sad and bloody chapters of what happens to human beings when they have a lack of it.